Have you ever been on a team where everything just clicks? The energy is amazing, the flow is perfect, and then, out of nowhere, it all just falls apart. What happened? You start wondering, was it the plan? Was it the market? Well, according to a mentor folks call Uncle Hugh, the answer is probably none of those things. Today we're going to break down his really powerful idea about why even the best teams can suddenly fail. Let's jump right in.
So this quote right here, this is the whole game. It completely flips the script on how we think about failure. Instead of asking, hey, what was wrong with our strategy? Uncle Hud tells us to ask a different question. Who was actually on the team? He's basically saying the people involved aren't just a factor, they are the single most important piece of the puzzle.
And this is where his big idea comes into play, the hunter. Now, think of them like predators in an ecosystem. They don't show up to help build the forest. No, they're there to take from it. Their entire focus is on what they can get for themselves right now, even if it means totally wrecking the system that feeds them. And you know the scariest part? They are incredibly good at blending in.
Okay, so if these hunters are so good at hiding, how in the world do you spot one before it's too late? Well, Uncle Yu gave us a kind of field guide. He's identified 7 very distinct types of these destructive people. Think of this next part as a diagnostic tool, a way to check the health of your own team. Let's get into the first one.
So we're going to start with the original, the blueprint for this whole mindset, the hunter. This is the person who looks at a team and doesn't see a community or a shared mission. They see a territory, a resource that's just ripe for the picking. They couldn't care less about the 5-year plan, they only care about what they can extract today.
And their behavior follows a really predictable pattern, a 4-step hit and run really. They join fast, they gather resources or people around them fast, they pull back fast, and then poof, they're gone. Uncle Hu's metaphor for this is just chillingly perfect. They're literally cutting down the forest to eat, with zero thought about what happens tomorrow.
All right, next up we have a really confusing one, the critic. I bet you've met this person. When they're on your team, they're your #1 fan, saying how great everything is. But the second they leave, they suddenly become your biggest, loudest critic. It's this bizarre flip that can be pretty shocking.
So, what is actually going on here? Well, it turns out their criticism has nothing to do with the system's flaws and everything to do with their own. They couldn't succeed inside it, and they can't handle that. So, to protect their own ego, they have to tear the whole thing down. It's the ultimate, it's not me, it's you defense mechanism. Now for our third type, the agitator. You can think of this person as a kind of agent of chaos. They absolutely thrive on drama. They love pitting people against each other. For them, it's not about facts or strategy, it's about stirring the pot and making sure they're right in the middle of all the action. They start rumors and create these little fires because they know conflict is the fastest way to get attention and feel important. But the cost is huge. Every little piece of drama, every rumor, it just chips away at the trust that holds a team together. And eventually, there's nothing left.
Our fourth archetype is the imitator. And this one's tricky because they are masters of disguise. They often look and sound just like a real builder. They use all the right buzzwords, they nod in all the right meetings. But if you look closely, there's nothing original there. It's all just a copy. See, they are brilliant at copying the what, but they never, ever understand the why. They can build a pretty good replica of a successful system, but they're missing its soul, its core purpose. And that's exactly why their versions always feel a little hollow and are just destined to fizzle out.
Next, we've got a very modern kind of hunter, the keyboard warrior. This is the person whose entire contribution seems to happen online, in the comments section. They're an absolute giant in the digital world, but when it comes to the real world, they're basically a ghost.
They're so quick to point out every single tiny flaw in what someone else has built. But here's the kicker. They've never actually built anything themselves. It's the ultimate irony, isn't it? They're an expert in a game they have never even played. The critiques are just empty because there's no real-world experience, no skin in the game to back it up.
Our sixth type is the chronic mover. Just think of them as a professional tourist hopping from company to company. They never really settle in. They never unpack their bags because they're always already looking for the next shiny destination. Their resume looks more like a passport full of stamps than a place they've built a home.
Yeah, they're always chasing that next big thing, totally convinced that the perfect job is just one hop away. But here's the truth. They're not running towards something better. They're running away from the hard work of actually building something and sticking with it. They're not looking for a better home. They're just looking for a fresh forest to hunt in. And our final type of hunter is, honestly, maybe the most disappointing one of all, the ungrateful. This is the person who completely bites the hand that fed them. They turn on the very people and the very system that gave them their big break in the first place. Think about it. They owe their career, their money, their opportunities to a team that believed in them and gave them a platform. But the moment they walk out the door, they turn around and start tearing it all down, usually to make themselves feel better about leaving. It's a shocking lack of self-awareness that Uncle Hugh has a great name for, systemic ingratitude.
Okay, wow. So we've spent a lot of time on the dark side, identifying all the ways things fall apart. So let's pivot. Let's talk about how to actually build things that last. If those 7 types are the problem, then who is the solution?
And really, it all boils down to this. This is the core difference. It's not just about what you do, it's about how you see the world. Do you see other people as prey, as resources to be used for your own gain? Or do you see them as partners on a shared journey? Your answer to that one question pretty much decides if you're a hunter or a creator. So, if you want to build a team of creators, how do you do it? Well, Uncle Hugh says the recipe is actually pretty simple. It starts with 3 key roles. These are the people who are the antidote to the hunters, the ones who lay the foundation for anything that's going to succeed in the long run. So first, you have the knowledge creator. This is the visionary, the person with a big idea. But an idea, is just an idea without people. That's where the team builder comes in, the leader who can get everyone fired up and united around that vision. And finally, to make it all scale, you need the system architect, the operational genius who builds the engine to make it all run. When you get those 3 working together, you're not just building a company, you're building an empire.
And this right here, this is probably the most important lesson in all of Uncle Hugh's philosophy. At the end of the day, it's a choice we all make. Do you want that quick hit, that short-term win that the hunter is always chasing? Or are you willing to play the long game? Are you willing to build something with others that will last? Your answer to that really defines everything. So as you go about the rest of your day, maybe to just take a second to think about it, ask yourself, what kind of impact am I really having on the people and the teams around me? Am I a net taker or am I a net giver? The answer isn't always comfortable, but it's one of the most important questions you can ever ask yourself. Are you a hunter or are you a creator? The choice, as always, is yours.